Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge show, where we study and explore the stories, strategies, and solutions that empower our communities to grow and thrive. I'm your host, Marc Parham, and tonight we're diving into some of the most important issues shaping our future: education, public health, and the mental wellness of our communities. And joining me this evening is someone who has been at the forefront of these conversations for over 20 years, 2 decades. My guest is Larry Johnson, former DeKalb commissioner and now a candidate for Georgia State Senate District 10. Larry has built a legacy of service, leadership, and results, championing initiatives that improve public health, expand our communities, opportunities for youth, and strengthen the local economy. Now he's taken his vision to the state level, aiming to bring that same commitment, that community-first leadership to the Georgia Senate. We're going to talk about his journey, his vision for our future, and the policies he believes will make a lasting difference for Georgia families and businesses. And as always, you can be a part of the conversation, ask questions, share your thoughts. Let's make this a conversation, a true community dialogue. So let's get started. Larry Johnson, welcome to the show.
Hey now, what's up, Parham? You doing good? I'm glad to be on the edge.
Yeah, you are on the edge.
Edge, baby. This is the edge.
Yeah, so man, I've been waiting for this. We started working on this about 30 days ago.
I
So
know, I know. I'm so glad to have people like you that want to put information out and connect the dots. So thank you for having me and your
all right, I'm
audience.
gonna have you. Your campaign manager is in the lobby. I'm gonna let him in. We won't bring him on unless you tell me to. I'll hide him real quick. Let's get started. You've been spent over 20 years serving as DeKalb County Commissioner. What's inspired you now to run for the Georgia State Senate District 10?
I just see it's another level of service. The state, as you know, a lot of funding came from the state to the county, and I was able to use that to mobilize, to energize the community from infrastructure, from economic development and public health. Now I want to be able to go to that level and take the expertise because, being a county commissioner, you're at the grassroots level. And
Right,
now
right.
to be able to go to the state, my thing now is I want to bring the state to the people. And so now you'll be at those tables early on and have those conversations, crucial conversations around a budget of $36 billion with $11 billion surplus. And how do I connect the dots to let them understand that every dollar is an investment in the people back home in your county? And so, I talked to the senator who's retiring, Senator Emmanuel Jones, and we talked and I said, man, this would be a good opportunity for me to be able to represent DeKalb in Henry County at the state level. So I'm excited about it because
You should be.
it's a great opportunity, man.
Yeah, it really is. So tell me this, looking back on your career in public service, what are the accomplishments you're most proud of?
I think, man, it was a lot of them. I think
Yes,
some
a
that
lot.
you can see is more like infrastructure, bringing sidewalks to communities that did not have them, parks and rec centers into our community to create more wellness opportunities that were very crucial during COVID. The economic development, bringing stores into our community that created jobs and helping families to restore families and to bring the economic vitality to the community, but also helping those communities to be more stable. The other part is public health, creating the Michelle Obama Trail, which goes from Moreland Avenue and be able to connect to Stonecrest. That whole wellness piece around prevention, and then being one of the ones who initiated having a mental health mobile unit that accompanied our police department before it was popular. And
Wow.
now being able to do those type of things at the state level for the people of DeKalb and Henry is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. So, how has your experience in local government shaped your approach to state level leadership? What kind of focus you're going to have?
Just about connecting the people.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to people now. It's about grits, groceries, and gross pay. The three G's.
At
And I was able to
3G.
do it on the local level for so long. Now I want to be able to let the state folks know, Republicans and Democrats, that it's all about the people. How do we connect the dots to making sure that we are serving and they are being heard on that level? And I've been able to do it for over 20 years at the local level. Now I want to take that expertise at the state and just connect the dots and let people know that your state government is not this far off place. It's you, and it's
Right.
going to be reflected through me by bringing the resources to you and letting you connect to these committees, and find out how can I empower myself with the resources that they have at the state level.
So, I tell you what, you've been a strong advocate for public health in the DeKalb County. What are your most urgent health challenges you see facing Georgia communities today?
I think more so around, I would look at disease prevention. HIV AIDS is still prevalent and high rates in our community. Violence prevention. What are we doing in our communities to help offset some of the violent incidents we're having around? I want to talk more about peace and conflict resolution,
Mm-hmm.
starting with our schools, because if you look at the state budget, $13 billion of the $36 billion are goes towards investing in our school system. And how can we make sure that we are focusing on our young people to teach them those skill sets? Because crime is happening. A lot of young people are the ones who are being killed, peer on peer crime, and then also domestic violence. Making sure that we have those conflict resolution skills in our community to drive home that peace is always the first option. And how can we get them? And my job is to bring those resources to our county governments, to our local school systems, to focus a lot on public health and mental health at the same time.
I have some more questions about education, but I got this great slide that you sent here.
Wow.
How
Okay.
Georgia funds state government. Can I show that when we talk about it
Yes.
for a second?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Yeah. As I was looking at this, I was like, wow, it's going to be coming up here. All right, let's talk about this slide for a second. So I want to do people really even understand this. I don't think they know
A lot of
this is
folks
how
don't
things split
follow.
up.
You don't follow it. You just go and think the money comes, but if you look at it, you look at all of the money that's generated through a lot of the residents of Georgia. We do, a lot of us work here. That means we pay income tax, sales tax. You're buying stuff. Corporate income tax. That means the corporate income tax of the businesses that are here that employ you, they also are paying this corporate tax and gas tax. You and I, we at least go to the gas station 4 or 5 times a month
Yeah. Yeah.
because Georgia are in love with their cars. And you look at the insurance premium, the alcohol, tobacco tax, those taxes is what funds state government. And so it's very, very important for you to understand that this is your money. These are the things that are fueling education, public health, mental health. Those are things are funded through, like this here, $36 billion in spending this year alone.
Wow. I couldn't believe it when you sent me this. I
Yeah.
guess I have a quick question that came up
Uh-huh.
last week. I hear they're trying to change the census. How does that affect us?
Well, it will affect us in a way because it's all about the numbers. I ran the census in DeKalb. I was the lead person who helped us get over $1 billion extra that we were entitled to. This was during COVID, so you know how rough it was to knock on doors. We found innovative strategies, but each person, and I forgot the total, was like worth $2.03. So everybody you got counted, it added to uh, your county government.
Right.
So we were able to exceed our census rate in a pandemic. And so that's the innovation and creativity with a good team of folks I was able to bring to the cab. And we'll get $1 billion extra because we made sure that we found people, knocked on doors. And so I just want to make sure that the census, whatever this formula that may be coming out, is fair to DeKalb and Henry County. because it's very, very important, because these dollars that are done when you do the count goes towards housing, goes towards infrastructure, goes towards schools. All those things are impacted by these numbers. And we don't want no funny business with these numbers. So that's why I need to be there
Yeah, right.
at these tables. Because I've run the census in DeKalb, and I'll know how to handle it on the local level to making sure that our counties of Henry and DeKalb and others are not shortchanged in what these new formulas may look like.
So, as we're talking, education is one of the centers of your platform. What
Yes.
specific changes do you believe Georgia's education system needs to better prepare our youth?
Well, we have to get prepared. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal that it had a coder who was making $165,000 a year. Now that job is gone. She's working at Chipotle now.
Wow.
So, what we got to understand is that AI is going to make a profound impact on white collar jobs. We thought just when we went to the store, the local McDonald's, or when we saw the little kiosk where you now can press and get your order, we thought they were just going to replace the cashier. Or when you go to the ATM, instead of going to the person at the bank and getting your money, we thought it was going to replace that. No, it's going to replace a lot of jobs. But what I would want to stress is that AI is not going to replace plumbing, HVAC,
Right.
brick masonry, an electrician. And so I want us to get back to the trades. And you don't
Well,
have to get,
it's
yeah, you
funny
don't
that
get,
you're talking about small businesses are kind of the backbone of local economies. I
that's
know we're
right.
going to do another show about this, but what are you going to do as a state senator to support entrepreneurs and create more economic opportunities?
Wow, man, we want to use the state systems around just small business development. I want to bring little pop ups and workshops to places like in our community where we bring out the state resources departments that handle small businesses and let you know about how to do business with the state. I think one of the best things we can do is show people, okay, we can turn this dollar over and over and let small business people know here's opportunities on how you can do business with your own state government. We just showed you how the money is coming in, $36 billion. That's what this business is at the state of Georgia. That's the
30.
budget, $36 billion. And so I want to make sure, as a person who connect with small business people, that you know how to do business with the state and you take advantage of that. And then also know about the entrepreneurs or subsidies that are available, some of the new market tax credits that may be available. I want to be that state senator that making sure that our small businesses are at the table and also getting a piece of the pie.
Tell you what, I want to share this next slide you gave me to share so we can talk about it for a second. Because this slide hit me upside the head too. I mean, both those slides
Wow.
hit me upside the head, man. When we talk about education and health and things like this, so this is a breakdown of, for Georgia and how's everything split up, or explain this slide to us.
Yeah, this is just how it's done. I mean, this is the pie. This is how the money is spent. This is where your dollars go in each of these departments. You saw pre-K through 12th grade, 38% of the budget. This is your Georgia state budget, goes towards pre-K to 12 education. That's close to what, 14, $15 billion. And then you add in healthcare, that's your public health, your mental health. That's another 20%. And so when you add in education and healthcare, like the slide we got from Georgia Policy Budget and Policy Institute, it talked about 74% of the $32 billion the fiscal year goes towards those two aspects. But look at how it breaks down: debt
Wow.
service, human services, public safety, and state courts. Man, it you need to understand that's the budget that you all are invested in with your dollars, your tax dollars.
Hmm.
And as your state senator, I'm going to make sure that you understand that. We're going to bring people to the community so you can get a 101, a budget 101 of the state budget. And then you can ask questions of top people. And then you can make informed decisions on what I want my dollars to go towards. And then you'll find out what your dollars are going towards, and you'll see that you may not even have kids in the education system no more. But guess what? Your tax dollars are
Right.
going. That means you do have kids in the educational system,
That's right.
healthcare, education, All those things are being impacted by your tax dollars. And I'm going to bring the state to the local residents of DeKalb and Henry County.
Outstanding. I tell you, one of the questions I have, speaking of, a lot of voters feel disconnected from the
Right.
government. How are you going to ensure transparency and accessibility of elections?
Well, I'm going to have ways that you can access me, coming onto your podcast, going on radio shows, making sure I have town hall meetings that I can connect with the residents of DeKalb and Henry County. I'm going to bring the departments that impact you the most to our counties so you can ask those tough questions and get connected. I'm going to make sure that I'm available through Zoom and through other means to make sure that I'm connected to you in many ways. Then I'm also taking to our young people. I want to make sure the Gen Z, the millennials, are connected because that's the ones who are now in the workforce, who are now taking charge of captain of industries and making things happen. And then small business people coming on the edge. Like you said before, the backbone of state of the Georgia is small businesses.
It is.
And so I want to make sure that we have forums and highlight small businesses that are in state of Georgia. So you can get in front of key people. I want to bring delegations in from Africa, from Asia, that can come in and talk to small business people and making sure that you're at these tables. And so I'm going to make sure at every point, like I did as a county commissioner, I used to have over 2,000 meetings a year.
Wow.
It was I was one I was wanting to connect our folks in so many ways that you could understand your government. So when you left me, I used to tell people you ain't gonna have no I don't know attitude. You're gonna know what's going on and how to get connected because I'm
I know
here
what's
to
going on.
empower the residents of DeKalb and Henry.
It's so interesting because everybody I'm talking to lately keeps bringing up Africa.
Right.
Africa.
Uh-huh.
Africa. I had Walito here last week. He's
Oh
talking about,
yeah, yeah, you got the great ambassador.
yeah,
So he's gonna be one of them ambassadors that I call on to bring
right,
the diaspora to us
right,
and connect the dots to America and Africa. I used to chair the International Economic Businesses for NACO, the National Association of Counties. And so I brought Brazil, the Organization of African States, Canada, Germany. I would bring them to the table so they can meet county commissioners and then bring that information back home to connect your business owners. I will be that extension at the state to do those things because a lot of the businesses the countries we do business with, Canada and Mexico, how many times do you see African American businesses have a roundtable with those groups and can
right.
talk about how you can supply them and what services that are needed? So that's my role, to be that ambassador and that champion and connect the dots.
All right. So tell me this. How do you plan to build bipartisan support for the issues that matter most to your constituents?
Because you got to focus on what I used to see as the president of NACO. When I was president of NACO, I was over 3,000 counties, 300 million Americans. That means I represented Republicans and Democrats, counties. And I told them there was no red or blue pothole, wasn't no red or blue sidewalk, wasn't no red or blue park. Folks want infrastructure, they want to feel safe. And my job is to bring those sidewalks, making sure we have roads are paved, bringing that money to the counties, helping our education systems to get the books and get the skills they need. I bring those mental health counselors into our school systems to making sure that we can catch our kids at an early age if they're having mental health challenges, and to making sure that we're connecting the dots to therapy and services. And so that's what I would do. And a Republican and a Democrat, you can't argue with that because you're helping our families, you're helping our children, you're helping entrepreneurs. And so I'll be that bridge that will make sure that we understand that it's not about red or blue. It's about making sure that we have some green.
Okay.
And that green is infrastructure, parks, as well as economic development.
So, you mentioned AI earlier. So, what role do you see technology and innovation playing in solving Georgia's economic and social challenges?
I see them a lot because you'll be able to do medical discoveries faster that allow you to live a longer life. We also have economic forecasting that will be more prominent, that you can know how to move your goods and services. And also, you learn how to help our kids in our schools because the kids are using it already.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to expand our knowledge base. We got to embrace it. We don't run from it, and use AI as an opportunity to expand education, public health, and economic development. And I'm going to be the ones who team up with those AI industry folks, bring them to our community so we can also create more small businesses around that.
So tell me this: what's one thing that people may not know about you that influences the way you lead?
I think they may not, what they may not know is that I'm a very real, well-rounded guy, even though my background is public health, that I have a very economic development edge about myself. I understand entrepreneurship. I may not be one, but I understand how to bring people to the table in the room and understand that our dollar has to turn over more than one time in our community for our community to be a success. And I know how to bring young people to the table. I created the first intergenerational center in the Southeast in my community that brought all generations to the table because I'm here to tell you not one generation is going to lead. It's going to be an intergenerational approach to leadership around public policy. And I was one of those people who understood that and help lead that. And that's why you see in DeKalb and you'll see in Henry County, my approach to governing is to intergenerationally do it and making sure people understand from an infrastructure standpoint, an education standpoint, public health and mental health. Because remember, age doesn't have, you don't have to have a certain age to have courage.
No.
It doesn't start when you're 12, it doesn't end when you're 81. We need folks with courage.
Courage.
And that's what I'm going to bring to the table. And I'm not going to be scared. We're going to talk about the issues. And we're going to be bipartisan in our approach. And I just didn't do it. I showed it as a county commissioner.
You did. You know, I was going to ask you, but I'm still going to ask you if you could send one message directly to your voters in District 10, what would it be?
Is that you need a leader who understands the generations, who understands the trends, but not only understands, know how to implement those things to empower you to be a successful resident in DeKalb and Henry County, from education to economic development to also focus on public and mental health. Those are my expertise. I won't have to be trained on those issues. I know how to connect the dots and bring them to you right now. And so there won't be no learning curve. But I know how to build partnerships. I know how to be collaborative. And that's the type of leader that you need at the state senate of District 10. So folks from Stockbridge, Georgia, Stonecrest to Avondale, a little bit of La Vista Hills to what I would call over there in the Scottsdale area. This is the leadership that you will get having a Larry Johnson as your state senator.
You know, last question here is how can people get involved in a campaign? But I know Joseph's out there. He's backstage. I don't know if he wanted to come in. Should I let him in or?
So he could come in and
All right,
he's a great
let me see if
campaign
he can.
manager.
Yeah,
So
let
it's
me see.
Larry Johnson for
All right,
Senate.com. Larry
all right,
Johnson for Senate.com.
all
Hey
right.
Joe.
Hello,
Just how you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't know if we took my put me on the speaker. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We
we
hear you.
can.
All right,
We can
good.
hear you, and I'll be able to increase the volume when I do the edit. You and I become best friends over the past month. Uh, trying to get him on this show.
Well, yeah,
Larry, once again, Joseph, tell how can people get involved in the campaign and why should they get involved?
we need individuals to help out in different aspects. We want to find out how you can contribute. We want to be able to utilize the best your skills to help Larry help you because at this point he is ready to do the job. We're very worried that he can do the job and think he is the best man for that job to do. And just get in contact with him, like you said, is Larry for the Senate, and we'll be able to take care of everything from there and contact you.
That's right.
Yeah, so I want to be pushing out and get people to volunteer for this guy. I just really feel it's important, especially because Larry, you understand Georgia, you understand Atlanta, you understand I mean, you're not new to the game. You was huffing it for a while, bro.
Yeah, but that the good thing about it is being on the edge. This show is that we want to be connected to the grassroots,
Right.
and what you bring, Mark, is that level of connectivity to let people know because you're in the entrepreneurial game, and
Yeah.
so you understand that I know we create a lot of entrepreneurs when I was a county commissioner in DeKalb, and I'm going to do more at the state level. Just imagine having that platform and somebody who already understand that the backbone to what we're trying to do is the small business owner
Right.
and getting you to the table and help to fill those gaps and making sure that you're doing business with the
Right.
state is going to be very crucial to the economic stability of our state in DeKalb and Henry County.
Tell you what, Joseph, when you called and told me Larry wanted to come on the show, you know how proud I was. Okay. You know, it's important because you have to understand your assignment. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm starting to understand mine is bringing the voice of people like Larry and yourself. If I can publicize and do whatever I can do, and just say you understand my assignment. All right.
Yes.
So,
And that's
Larry,
what.
yeah,
Thank you, sir. We just appreciate the opportunity and the chance
yes,
to be on to connect with your listeners and viewers because if we want to change the state of Georgia, we got to make sure that we step up to the plate. It's not just going to be on Larry Johnson. I'm going to be there as your leader and ambassador, but I'm going to have people alongside with me to help to get the good fight, to keep the good fight going because we cannot stay at home. We cannot relax. We got to have relentless leadership that understands how to bring generations together. And that's what I offer. That's what I'll bring to the table. What I'm going to bring forward. So I just thank you for the opportunity. And we will see you soon. LarryJohnsonPresented.com. LarryJohnsonPresented.com. Any donations we need it, $5 to $10. You can do it. Please
let's make
contribute.
that
This is a
happen.
grassroots effort, and we need your help.